medical college case, the cyber frauds, terrorism, which are organized in India, from where if it is coming from the outside country, then we can manage it by any other way. But these are happening in our country, and that's why I have decided to evaluate again and again these values. We have discussed that from the Regulating Act 1973, the Peace Act 1974, the long constitutional history, which have given us the opportunity to draft our own constitution, finally by the Government of India Act 1947, and the Constituent Assembly, when it was previously formed before 47, 299 members were there. After that, when it was formed and later on it was found that the adequate representation of some of the sections of the society are not there, then again it was reconstituted, and now when it started working basically from 8th of December 1946, it was basically has started to draft now. Then 389 members with 15 women freedom fighters. Those were the freedom fighters. So to celebrate any day, first of all, we have to start with what is logic behind it, because till we will not feel something from the inner core of our heart that we should celebrate, other all things will be formality. That since UGC has said, government has said, we have to follow. But we have to feel actually that what this document is in our hand. Especially in India, where there is a law that you cannot say that you don't know your law of the land. Ignorancia of law is not an excuse. But a very few of us go through this document. We see a lot of OTTs, Facebook, WhatsApp, every moment we are trying actually to go through all these. But we never think that, okay, today 4 pages we will study for our own law of the land, which is the supreme law of land, Constitution of India or Samvidhan. So what is logic behind this? So first of all, we have to know some of the words. These are for the students. That what do you mean by constitution? What do you mean by constitutional law? And what is constitutionalism? When we start structuring anything, we start a building structure, then we are in need of some components. Besides these human beings, in this room we have a huge number of components like this AC and chair and tables, everything. So these components are known as the constitution. Constitutional law, that is now how to arrange the components. What would be the series of? কিভাবে ওই components গুলোকে রাখবো আমরা যাতে এই structure would be a room where at least 200 people will sit and will think over some resolutions. So that is called constitutional law. It is a rule book. All the basic things of the country, that how we will regulate our country, that is called constitutional law. This is a rule book for our country. And constitutionalism, when the word is with ism, that means certain philosophies are there which will try to analyze all those laws to achieve the greatest utility for the country. Whatever the resources we have, because when we have got this constitution, the time was that no money was there in the country, human resources, unmanageable human resources, unemployment, a long battle with the Britishers, all these were in the background. So in this situation, how to achieve the good things for our country, to develop our country, not only to change the socio-economic and political scenario, but to transform it. So for that, this concept of constitutionalism came, that is, how to achieve the good India. Of course, when we will regulate something to achieve good, certain bad will come, but maximum good will come, which in front of those goods, the bad nobody will follow or nobody will transform in respect of that bad elements. So that was constitutionalism. So this is the first thing regarding understanding that we should feel proud that we are Indian and we have this constitution. We have heard a lot about lengthiest constitution, a huge number of articles from 395 till now is 448. From the 22 parts is now 25, from 8 schedules to now it is almost 12 schedules in workable condition, and other more schedules are awaiting which have been already scheduled, but we are not, those are not in working condition now. So before that, to go to the value, we have to understand these three words, and these words will give us the idea how proud we are to get this constitution. Now the next part is regarding the constitutional value. Now this book has some value, this document has some value. Value means what? It's a very relative term. Value means anybody or any, I will not say any creature on this, living creature on this earth, they have certain sense on the basis of their own existence. It is a kind of self-interpretation of the concept. It is not uniform. Value can never be uniform. In the grassroots level, whoever is coming from grassroots level, value will be different. If I am coming from elite family, I am taking example of human being. In the animals, in the flora, fauna, with all, they have the values. So, elite class value would be different because everybody over here, they have certain background, and the law, that is the psychology of law, is saying that person first learn from the family, then from the nearby places, and then social learning theory, that means from the society where actually he or she reside. The value, that is completely different from place to place, time to time. তখন যে ভ্যালু আমাদেরকে দেয়া হয়েছিল, আমরা আজকে ওটাকে অ্যানালিসিস করব। And unfortunately or fortunately we can say, the value is same, though there is a need to interpret it again and again. আর কোনো একটা শব্দকে ইন্টারপ্রেট করার জন্য কিন্তু আমাকে ওই শব্দের যে কন্টেম্পোরারি কি আছে এখন, কি তার ইউজ আছে, সেটাকে জানার জন্য কিন্তু আমাকে জিনিসটাকে বারে পড়তে হবে। If we want to know the intention of the legislature, that why this law was drafted, then we have to go through the, but আমাদের সবচেয়ে দুঃখের বিষয়, আমরা প্রত্যেকটা অ্যাওয়ারনেস প্রোগ্রামে বলছি, ইনফ্যাক্ট in 2015 when this day came as a Samvidhan Divas, then it was basically stated that people should aware about their own law, first of all law. So value has nothing to do here with the law. Value is something, and of course the constitutional value means all those words and the sentences and the very valuable thoughts, ethos, whatever in their constitution, people should analyze it from time to time. That was the constitutional value which was put under the Indian Constitution. Now the another part to feel that how this precious document we have is, the part is about that this was a research, because nowadays when I am evaluating constitution, a huge number of people having their own interest, they are simply giving the statement, this is an old one, backdated one. It should be changed, it should be amended, it should be repealed. Change to anek bar holo. That's why from 395 to 448 we have. And this is the usual thing, that the law is very old, we should repeal it, but nobody from the whole India is coming with a single hand that, okay, I will draft another constitution. Nobody is taking this tier or this challenge. So this is the thing which we should feel proud, that in 1949 what was drafted, nobody is there in India who can replace this one. Who can say, yes, I am the person, or 389 people or 299 people. They, from this country, we have a huge population, at least few people, 1,000, 2,000, lakhs, crores should come forward, will say we will again make a constituent assembly and we will draft a new constitution. Nobody is taking. If we want to protect our own karma, we take advantage of constitution. If you want to provide right, we take advantage of constitution. In spite of all these facilities, we are saying that constitution is bad one, it is old or backdated one. Then why again we are protecting our own karmas, whatever may be the positive or negative, in favor of we the people of India or against we the people of India, against the democracy, against the secularism, against the word, these are the very, I will go to those words. So why they are not coming and saying that yes, we will now, and they are protecting themselves through this constitution. That means this is the book where everything is there. What will come in the next 50 years to 100 years, everything is in this book. So we should study it. At least once in our life, we should study the whole constitution book. Then we can say, yes, we are celebrating Constitution Day. Then coming to the next part about this value, and the values first, we have 4 model of value in this constitution, and those models were actually came within a huge number, approximately 3 years. It was in draft form, came in 2 years, 11 months and 17 days. There is a controversy about the 17 days or 18 days. In some of the places we find 18 days, because after 12 p.m., basically 12 midnight, one more day is adding. That's why there is a controversy. That's not the important thing. But this is a long research. After long research of these people, this document came. And all the good values were derived from 8 important documents. Like Government of India Act 1935, that was a model. The infrastructure they have given to us for writing this constitution. Then from USA, part 3 of the constitution taken, fundamental right. From British, the impression of rule of law, suppression of power, all these came. So 3 document. From the Canada, the quasi-federal character, because in Government of India Act 1930 it was federal structure, but quasi-federal concept, it came from the Canada. Then from the Australia we took concurrent list. These people have taken the good concurrent list and how to regulate the trade and occupation. We have one of the freedom of trade, commerce and the fundamental rights. So that is taken from the Australia. From the Myanmar of Germany constitution, we took actually that during the emergency period, how even the fundamental right can be taken away. From USSR constitution we took the justice, the nature of justice would be social, political and economic justice. So approximately 8 valuable constitutions were researched. Nowadays researchers are taking some of the sample area for their research, and here the sample area was all these countries who have 7 countries with one valuable Government of India Act 1938 document. These thoroughly it was read by these people, and finally we have given a shape to the constitution, and approximately till 24th January 1950 basically the debates went off that what should be the other things we should add, we can subtract from the constitution. So this is giving us a good feeling that how valuable these documents are for us. What is not there? A man is saying, an old man is saying that if I will be old and will not be in workable condition, then you cut my legs and ears and hands. That provision is also there in the constitution. If you say that it's very old, that was also written over there, how to amend constitution, how to repeal, how to add some of the things, that is also given in the constitution. If you have no law, some situations are arising in future, like we have now a lot of problems relating to the electronic business, relating to the cyber crime, terrorism. It was stated that if you don't have a law, then you follow the conventions and treaties in which you are even the signatory member. You give respect to those laws and you resolve your dispute. Later on you make your law on the basis of the situation, circumstances. This is constitution. Now if I say value, then we have 4 model of value, and one more misunderstanding that is through the media is coming, that in one word we will say that who is the Constituent Assembly President was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. It was first Sachidanand Sinha, then Dr. Rajendra Prasad. These are few myths which the students should understand. Approximately the huge number of committees were formed under the Constituent Assembly, and in which one committee was drafting committee, and in that drafting committee 7 members were there, and Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, he was the chairman of that committee. Who wrote, if we'll say, I'll say these are for the students' knowledge, I'm saying, that who wrote constitution, then we should know 2 names, who has actually has prepared the manuscript. The manuscript is in the Supreme Court and in the Parliament, 2 copies are there. So in English, it was written by Prem Bihari Narayan Raichand, and in Hindi it was Vashant Krishna Vaidya. In Hindi it was written in the manuscript form. And the very good thing is that we see preamble and the decoration we are observing. So that decoration was done by anybody, student, who has decorated that? It was Nand Lal Bose from Santiniketan. So you can say that, and the Nand Lal Bose in time was not a member of Constituent Assembly, but he has done this. So how to draft a constitution, how we have actually worked hard, we should give respect, and that's why till now it's working. And that's why we are protecting ourselves from the constitution. So this is how we should feel the logic behind celebration of this day. Regarding the value, we have 4 models over here. One model in the constitution is from the Vedic model from Vedas. certain words were taken from Vedas. Then we have Gandhian thought, that is one of the model in the constitution for value. Then we have preamble, and we have certain fundamental duties. In 1976, few words, one chapter 4, which is directive principle of state policy, one chapter 4A through article 51A was added, and that was about the fundamental duty, and these duties are only imposed on the citizen of India. Otherwise, the whole constitution is calling themselves we the people of India. All the provisions almost, because the preamble is starting from we the people of India. Now Vedic Rig Veda, from article 14 we can say that we start equality. All the rights under the heading equality, article 14. And every from 14, 15, 16, everywhere it is written that no discrimination on the ground of religion, caste, birth, etc. So that birthplace for discrimination, that was stated in the Rig Vedas. The Atharva Veda, the concept which was taken, and all these were debated in the Constituent Assembly. Atharva Veda, that is the universal brotherhood, which we call Vasudev Kutumbakam, and the socialism term, that we will distribute the economy. Labor should be paid. Labor should get the recognition. Not only the investors' money, but that labor should also be basically give respect. It should be a kind of resource which a labor, the strength to produce anything, that was given in the Atharva Veda. So this was first model, and that's why we are starting the preamble from we the people of India. What that India? The next model is preamble that I am stating here. Preamble start होच्छे we the people of India, और ये इंडिया क्या होगा? आर्टिकल 1 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, जस्ट इंडिया क्या होगा? यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट, या इसको हम लोग भारत कहेंगे. थोड़ा सा अगर हम लोग इवैल्यूएट करें तो अभी फ्यू इयर्स बैक few of our country's leaders, they have used the term Bharat, and a lot of controversy was there with this term Bharat. Bharat is in the constitution, so nobody is giving. This is actually no discrimination. Nobody, no particular color of the party is giving us this Bharat. Bharat is our country. Now the next value, we the people of India, and India was defined under Article 1 of the Constitution. Then next one is how this India would be. Next part. So who is giving this preamble? We are giving this preamble. Source or the authority of this constitution who can take action in case of the unconstitutionality, that is we the people of India. Source of the authority. Next part in the preamble is that how India would be. India, कैसा इंडिया हम लोग बनाना चाहते हैं? मैम हैज ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेन्ड सॉवरेन सोशलिस्ट, ये these two words, secular and the socialism, that came in 1976. बट बिफोर दैट हम पूरे प्रियम्बल को लेकर अगर बात करें तो प्रियम्बल में कहा गया भारत होगा जिसमें जिसकी अपनी सुप्रीम अथॉरिटी होगी. द मेंबर विल बी इलेक्टेड एज इट इज़ अ रिपब्लिक. It would be for the people, by the people and of the people, democracy. So everywhere, what would be the India we have decided as a people of India. Then how, what constitutionalism it would be, how we will behave. আমরা কিভাবে constitution কে চালাবো এবার. Ism, what would be the philosophy? These are the very valuable thing. That justice, equality, liberty, fraternity. All these are the values. এবার এখানে ভ্যালু যদি আমি প্রিয়াম্বলের একটা মডেল ধরি তাহলে কিভাবে রেগুলেট করব? ভারতকে তো বানালাম সভরেন সোশ্যালিস্ট রিপাবলিক ডেমোক্রেসি এরকম, এবার এই কিভাবে চলবে? দেন we will provide justice. Justice তার নেচার কি হবে? সোশ্যাল, ইকোনমিক অ্যান্ড পলিটিক্যাল জাস্টিস, এভরিওয়্যার we will provide justice. And it would be, last para of the constitution is saying that we will provide justice to all. Now evaluating it in 1976, I said that how we are taking values, that is depending upon our own interpretation. The justice to all word, Justice Krishna Iyer, he has got a postcard, a letter from some of the labor, and there it was written that I am from Rajasthan and I cannot come to your Supreme Court as I am illiterate and I am from a very grassroots, means I don't have any economic support, nobody is with me, whether I get justice from you? Then Justice Krishna Iyer, now he is implementing this value, justice to all. He said, yes, why not? If you are not coming to the Supreme Court under Article 32 and 226 and all this, Supreme Court will go to your place. And the concept of public interest litigation, that even if anybody will inform us that these are happening, court will completely suo motu, by its own intention can take action. In 1976, first case came in 1978, Hussain Ara Khatun case, and it came to the as public interest litigation. Now you just think about a human being who by his own consent is giving a new concept of this justice. Social, economic and political justice. So economic justice and political justice, it's okay, but social justice, that is how we will reach to the grassroots people. So the concept, a new concept, that is the judicial creativity. In our law it is called judicial. The function of the judiciary is to interpret the law within the four corners of constitution. Now he is not doing anything beyond constitution. He has given us, okay, we will interpret in this manner. Justice to all means if the people are not coming to the court and if really it is a matter of fact that the person has suffered, has deprived due to these valuable statement, then we will go there. That is the public interest Janhit Yachika. And in 81, again, in SP Gupta case, said that on behalf of them, anybody can come if the person is really public spirited person. If a person is public spirited person and anybody from our country is deprived of the justice, then can come. That is called the locus standi. Uni aro that PN Bhagwat arekjon justice uni SP Guptar case bollen je ami aro area ta case expand kore debo and said that public spirited person for any issue which is really proving that justice has not been delivered can file public interest litigation case. So this is how we actually take value in ourselves. How can we think a lot? How can we make our mind broader? And that is only possible by study of our country. কতটা আমরা আমাদের দেশকে, দেশের যে বিভিন্ন সাবজেক্ট না, সোসাইটিকে কতটা স্টাডি করতে পারছি, সেটা যদি আমাদের মধ্যে থাকে আমাদের ভ্যালিউ ক্রিয়েট হবে অ্যান্ড আমাদের কনস্টিটিউশন কিন্তু গুড কনস্টিটিউশন. সো দ্যাট ওয়াজ অ্যাবাউট দ্য প্রিয়াম্বল. In the preamble it was said that we will, last paragraph of the preamble, now they are stating that whom we will govern. আমরা তো নিজে এটা বানাচ্ছি, তাহলে কাকে গভর্ন করার জন্য? We are abiding ourselves. আমরা নিজেকে একটা ডিসিপ্লিনের মধ্যে রাখছি যে আমরা কিন্তু আজকের দিনে দ্যাট 26 ডে অফ নভেম্বর 1949-এ আমরা আমাদেরকে এই ভ্যালু থেকে বাঁধলাম। দ্যাট ওয়াজ দ্য লাস্ট প্যারাগ্রাফ, যাতে আমরা সবাই একটা ভালো, সবাই মানে নট অনলি দ্য সিটিজেন অফ ইন্ডিয়া, এখানে কিন্তু শুধু সিটিজেন অফ ইন্ডিয়ার কথা বলা হয়নি, অলওয়েজ বলছেন উই দ্য পিপল অফ ইন্ডিয়া, অ্যান্ড দ্যাটস ওয়াই ইন আওয়ার কান্ট্রি we are providing rights to the people who after the independence from the British, from the other countries, they were residing here. For them also we have certain policies under the parliament that they can be elected or nominated sometime. So we are not discriminating people by people through that particular provision. So this was the value in the preamble. Then Gandhian thought. The third model in our constitution was Gandhian principle. The only one principle which was followed and which has given which we get the reflection of this particular thought of Gandhi in our constitution at various places. The various places he said decentralize the power. If your preamble is we the people of India, then you decentralize it. And if you are decentralizing the power, so everywhere you will find equality before law, equal protection of law under Article 14, that all will be treated equally but in equal circumstances. Panchayati Raj system. Article 46, where we have thought about the weaker section of the society, তাদের হাতেও পাওয়ার দেওয়া হলো। We criticize reservation policy. আজকের দিনে যদি আমি ইভ্যালুয়েট করি, তাহলে সবচেয়ে বেশি যে রাগ আছে মানুষের মাঝে, সেটা রিজার্ভেশন পলিসি। Yes, reservation policy was for the first 10 years of the constitution. Later on it was stated that you change it, but unfortunately we are changing it in other direction, otherwise. But reservation policy was a very good policy. And at least within this hall, what is the good impact of reservation? We never ask from my next friend that you are from which caste. Caste has only two value nowadays, if you will evaluate, that is a little bit for marriage purpose and for the employment purpose. Otherwise, caste has nothing to do with now. But you think about the 1947 and the caste was so dangerous that some of the castes were not allowed to take entry in the premises. They were not allowed to take water from the common well. So nothing bad is there in the constitution. These values, reservation, now we are changing policies in the reservation, but the value is depending upon the person who is administering it. Nowadays, all these words like justice, equality, all these valuable words are there in the preamble. Gandhi has also said about the decentralization of the power, but all the divisive factors in the which was then actually governing the society, like the religion, like the caste, place of birth, equal of status, some of the titles, these were the divisive factor, but the main aim of the value was unity in diversity. And B.R. Ambedkar said that this is very good instrument in the hand of the people of India, but whether our constitution would be good, that will depend upon who is regulating it. Nowhere it is written in the constitution that you basically divide the people. You divide the people, but nowadays everywhere we are taking all these values in negative direction for transformation of our country. We have sovereignty, but whether the agreements and the treaties and the conventions which we are putting our signature, whether we understand what would be the result of those conventions, treaties, why we are not trying to manage some of the law through our constitution. As we have signed this convention, that's why we have to give. Now the next part is fundamental duty part. Now till the values are there, the last model is where we can say the value is there, that is the fundamental duty, and it is for this Indian citizen who are citizen of our country. So first of all, fundamental duty in the Vedic era, even in some mythology, we not consider it, but we can take some of the impression from the mythology. The society was based on duty, and that's why in constitution also we put emphasis only on part 3 of the constitution, that is our fundamental right. Right and duty coexist with each other. No fundamental right is absolute. With each right we have a duty. And ultimately, when the people were not actually understanding that fundamental right is there, so we should also study the other part of all fundamental freedoms. So fundamental duty was the need of the society, and that's why we have got 10 in 1976. 42nd Amendment, we have got 10 fundamental duty, and later on in 2002 we have got the 11th fundamental duty also relating to the children. So 11 fundamental duties, and everywhere we see that the Gandhian thought, the Vedic model, as well as the preamble's value, those have got implemented through the imposition of all these duties. You have to impose it on the people that you have right to life, you want to exercise equality, you want to provide justice, then first you give respect to your constitution, you give respect to national anthem, you give respect to the tricolor's flag, everywhere in all these 11. You want to give right to every person, then you give respect to their privacy. If we will evaluate all these fundamental duties everywhere, you give respect to the old people. So what's wrong in that? You give respect to the environment, because if you have right to life under Article 21, and it is also starting from no person shall be deprived of his life and liberty, then you give respect to all first of all. Now, if it is life and liberty, then the question was that one can take life and liberty if it is the procedure established by law. This is the second contribution of the India. We have two contributions. One was the peel, another was this, and the third we have relating to the environment. 3 creativity we have done, which the world is actually following. That what that law would be, procedure established by law. What would be that law? Some said it's due process. Due process is applicable in other country. That is not the law of our land. It was said the procedural law like the CPC, CRPC and IPC, which now has been amended as Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, etc. What that law would be? Clearly indicated under Article 13, 2 clauses are there, 1 and 2. Article 13, 1 is talking about the law which was prevailing before 1950. And if it is not going against any of our fundamental right, that would be our law. And the second law would be anything like rules, regulation, bylaw, ordinance, even customs and usages. Those would be law if has got the recognition. Customs even where. So how could we say that we are not secular? not interfering in our rituals. Rather, state is supporting some of the developmental work which is relating to the religion for the promotion of the particular class or a religion. So this is how the value has been interpreted and said law means you just go to Article 13, you study it. If it is really not in confrontation with the other values of the Constitution, then that law would be just, fair and reasonable law. It was happened in Maneka Gandhi's case, where the passport of the Maneka Gandhi was seized. She was traveling, she was planning to travel abroad. She went to the airport and there the passport was seized. So when she said that why my passport, I have the right to movement. My liberty is not like an animal, I will be confined in a particular place. Animal existence, liberty মানে হয় না, liberty মানে হচ্ছে আমি হিউম্যান বিইং এর মতন আমার লিবার্টি আছে, আমার ফ্রিডম আছে, আমি যেতে পারি। তো পাসপোর্ট অথরিটি বললো যে আমার পাসপোর্ট অ্যাক্টে লেখা আছে আপনার আপনি যদি অন্য দেশে গিয়ে কোনো ডিস্টারবেন্স ক্রিয়েট করেন তাহলে সেই জন্য আপনার পাসপোর্টটা সিজ করলাম, কেন আপনার মুভমেন্টের রাইট আছে কিন্তু এটা ন্যাশনাল স্পিরিটের अगेंस्टे যাচ্ছে। তখন উনি চ্যালেঞ্জ করেছিলেন যে হুইচ ল, প্রসিজার এস্টাবলিশ বাই ল, কোন লয়ের আন্ডারে আপনি আমাকে করলেন, কোথায় লেখা আছে যে আমি হঠাৎ এবার যাব আপনি আমার পাসপোর্ট সিজ করে দেবেন। তখন এই তিনটে প্রিন্সিপাল, দ্যাট ইজ অলসো আ প্রিন্সিপাল অফ ন্যাচারাল জাস্টিস, দ্য থ্রি প্রিন্সিপাল। फर्स्ट, द पर्सन हु इज एडजुडिकेटिंग ही मस्ट बी अ बायस फ्री पर्सन, बायसनेस नहीं रहेगा उसमें। बायसनेस भी तीन तरह का होता है, या तो पर्सनल रिलेशन है, या ऑफिशियल रिलेशन, या पैसा का कुछ लेन देन है। पिक्यूनरी बायस, ऑफिशियल बायस एंड पर्सनल। सो जो भी किसी मैटर को एडजज कर रहा है, वो जस्टिस देने के लिए बैठा है, उसको एक इम्पार्शियल होकर सोचना पड़ेगा, तब उस लॉ को मानेंगे जस्ट, फेयर और रिजनेबल। दूसरा एक प्रिंसिपल है दैट वी शुड गिव अपॉर्चुनिटी टू अदर पार्टी। अदर पार्टी को भी सुनना होगा क्योंकि वही गवर्न कर रहा है वैल्यू, वी द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया। सो यू गिव अपॉर्चुनिटी टू अदर पार्टी एंड नेमो जुडेक्स काउजा একটা ল্যাটিন ফ্রেজ আছে যেখানে বলছে ম্যাক্সিম, আমরা বলি ওটাকে লয়ের ভাষায়, যে নেমো জুডেক্স কাউজা, আপনি যে জাস্টিসটা দিলেন সেটা তো দুটো পার্টিকে দিলেন। ওয়ার্ল্ড কি করে, পুরো বিশ্বে যদি কোনোদিন চ্যালেঞ্জ করে যে না জাস্টিস হয়নি এই কেসে, তাহলে কি করে প্রমাণ করবো আমি যে না ল ফলো করে জাস্টিস করেছিলাম? তো ইট ওয়াজ সেড রিজন ডিসিশন, নেমো জুডেক্স কাউজা। So everything you make a record of that in writing so that in near future justice should not only be done, it should be seen to done. So this was the things under the Indian Constitution where all these values were there, and everything, you scientific temper, you develop your science and technology but within your capacity. We have all the technology, we can use it, but whether we have the specific regulating authority who will manage if anything is happening which is unmanageable. We are following all these values from the Indian Constitution. Nothing is there, but unfortunately in every sphere of life we are misinterpreting our Constitution. We are misinterpreting the all words. If it is sovereignty, we are not following democracy. Sovereignty মানে হয় সুপ্রিম অথরিটি, কিন্তু সুপ্রিম অথরিটি হলেও তোমাকে ডিবেট করে কোনো ল আনতে হবে। A lot of examples we have, the law came without any debate in the parliament. You have to follow socialism. So the new policies are coming for the education, but what would be the condition, whether we have a good infrastructure for that or not, to provide justice to all? We have got the mobile from the different authorities, we have got the laptop and the tab and everything, smart boards, everything under the new education policy. But whether we have electricity, sufficient electricity in our institutions to to regulate all those instruments? Whether we have the persons that who will resolve the dispute. If any technical fault will come, then immediately will be resolved. So this is how right to privacy. If it is in our country, if it is happening that every day we have a news of a kind of brutal action, so where these values are? We are to be the people of India. So how we are actually changing or transforming ourselves like an animal? Where we are actually. That means we have never studied. We have education. We have knowledge, but we don't have wisdom. We even try to manipulate the thing according to this supremacy of the power. So we have to again, this is the high time to think that we should again and again study and interpret the Constitution as it was interpreted by Justice Krishna Iyer, P. and Bhagwat. We have to interpret it to meet the, right now I said value changes from the place to place and time to time. So what should be the new interpretation of the value that we should use for follow the constitutionalism? We are interpreting value, but not for the constitutionalism, whether for unconstitutional behavior of any society. So this is how I evaluate Constitution. Thank you very much. From the students, if you have any questions,